Hello everyone, my name is Gopi. I represent a small company from India called the Blue Yonder. And how many tour operators are here? How many hoteliers? How many NGOs? Kind of, okay. You're not NGO? Okay, cool. What I'm trying to do is, I don't have any slides, so I'll just share some experience on how certain volunteering concepts took off in the city where I come from, a small town called Calicut in northern part of Kerala. In 1993, a couple of us were part of what now became a movement in palliative care. For those people who are not familiar with palliative care is providing holistic care for people who are terminally ill or people who are incurably ill. And this was started in one small room, literally a dressing room of an anesthetist. And we had 2 doctors, 2 nurses, and a few volunteers. And I was also one of the initial volunteers there. And now what has happened is, over the period of 19 years, we have 30,000 plus trained and skilled local volunteers who over the past 2 decades have looked after, taken care of 45,000 terminally ill and incurably ill people. And this was achieved not through any institutional grants. There were a few in the beginning. It was not achieved through the kind of volunteering that you see where people from around the world who want to make a difference to local communities, like a country like India where almost 400 million people are still earning less than $1 per day. What we did was, we went out to the people, to the local people, and we raised the microfunds, 10 rupees, 20 rupees, 30 rupees. And this is now sustaining more than 300 plus pain and palliative clinics. And this also, over the period of 2 decades, have ended up as the largest network of palliative care volunteers. So what we did there was build up networks within neighborhoods, because the Indian or mostly the Asian culture, it's not like the way, say, if you look at US or UK, when you are terminally ill, you are confined to a hospice where you are sent away to die with quality. But the background where we come from is, we are mostly very tribal. We like to live with the community, among the community. We like to live there. We like to die among our own people. So you can't push such people into a hospice to say we'll give you quality of, you'll have dignity in death. So what we did was to build up neighborhood network, but it is very resource intensive if you are going for the Western model. So what we did was, we trained the neighbors so that if I'm ill, my neighbors will come and look after. So this network has grown into this 30,000 plus skilled volunteers. So now the reason why I am sharing this is, most people say, you look, the voluntourism business, it's a big business. You look at Gap Adventures, you look at Intrepid, you look at I2I, Planet Terra Foundation, you name it. This is purely market driven. One of the companies in Canada, they approached my small travel company, Blue Yonder, 6 years ago, telling that we have 870, I remember that number so clearly, 870 volunteers who are ready to spend even $1,200. And they gave us the arrival date, they gave us the departure date, the schedule was all done. And I am like, okay, but what are these people going to do? They're like, no, we have, your reputation has reached our company, we have done research and everyone is recommending your company. So this is a market-driven request without even wanting to know whether we need a volunteer or not. They have no idea. So this is, so I send an email, just one liner asking how many more walls do you want to paint again and again. And of course they stopped working with us. They never worked with us. So we have many such experience. Then earlier there was a global cancer care campaign in UK who said we will help you raise funds for the palliative care movement, and they ran Royal Enfield trips through India. They raised like really loads of money, not $1, not £1 came to the Pain and Palliative Care Society in India. Where did the money go? They used that money to build their headquarters in London. You know, these kind of stuff. And this might be one or two examples, but this is our story. So what we started thinking about is, we are local people, we are building up few things, and we know what the issues are. And instead of immediately running out seeking for help to the government or to an outside funding agencies or donors or volunteers, what we did was to throw this problem out into the society, to our own people, and they came up. We kind of crowdsourced the whole idea, and people are running the show. But still, we are supporting volunteering from outside in a big way, but the model is very simple. Most people go to volunteer, to partner with such NGOs because they think they can contribute. But fantastic, that's great. But dynamics are very different destination to destination. This might not be applicable in Singapore, it might not be applicable in Bangkok. But in our area, what we are looking at it, the local people are quite resourceful. Only thing, they need a platform. People are very compassionate. I believe everyone is compassionate. Some people realize it very early in their life. Some people realize it as they go. They work in like a typical software engineer in Bangalore. They go, they sit, work for 17 hours in a day, see only the monitor. They make lots of money, but end of the day they go back home and they're like unhappy. And then they are like, I want to do something, and they want to volunteer. So there are different kinds of people. So what we did was to tap into the local resources and to have a volunteering system of 30,000 plus people. It's not easy. So if you look at our database, like at any point of time, there are close to 8,000 volunteers working at any point of time, 24/7. The palliative care movement in India also launched the world's first 24/7 home care, focusing on palliative care. I really don't know why people never thought about doing it in any other places. There's no rocket science behind it, but we built all this with local resources. So why we are supporting volunteering from outside is, we want to give an opportunity to someone from Delhi or Bangkok or New York to come into our area, volunteer with us so that they can learn, so that they can be inspired by what you could call as a regular guys did. We are not extraordinary people, but we had an idea where we thought our solution has to come from within. It has to come from our own area. And at the same time, you need to have a sustainable financial model. So what we are looking at is, if someone is coming for volunteering, say from US, we say, okay, 2 weeks you can do this, and we give them all ideas about these are the requirements that we have. So the community decides what the requirements are, and the community decides what support system they need, and only after it is addressed by the local community. So in many cases, okay, if you are a paramedic, it's very useful for us. If you are a nurse, it's very useful for us in this particular case. But we are not targeting that, because we do have that skills. Actually, our clinics train doctors and nurses from UK and Switzerland in palliative care. It's also the World Health Organization's only collaborating center outside the developed world. It's a very unique recognition. And we even have mandate to train other countries now, going to Thailand, going to Sri Lanka. We are helping setting up palliative care department in Sri Lankan colleges. All these things are happening. But the volunteers who are coming can actually pay $500 for 2 weeks of experience, and the money goes directly to the organization. There are 300 plus clinics run by different people. So this is the question also that I want to pose to many bigger international NGOs or companies who are promoting voluntourism. Like when a traveler leaves New York or Sydney, most of them, like we have done like 2 years of research to find out how much is this whole business going on. Most people are actually giving $1,200 to $2,200 for 2 weeks volunteering. Where is this money going? How many NGOs in developing countries are receiving that money? This money is mostly stuck in the originating market. This money is staying back in Western countries, or if it's someone coming from Delhi, gets stuck there. and maybe 200 or less than that is contributed. Like we had volunteers who came to work with us in my travel company who said they were actually surprised to know that actually none of the NGOs are actually getting money. So this money is all getting, there's nothing wrong, people are doing business, that's okay. But what we want to urge to the NGOs or destination is, rather than just running away to get support immediately from the Western society or the originating market, look for solutions locally. And if you cannot handle, then build up a system where you are not building kind of dependency for the local NGOs on tourism. So there's no rocket science that I have here to share, but I just thought, that if one or two person here running voluntary initiative could be inspired by this small success, I think my job is done. Thank you so much.